Floridians know the cost of hurricane destruction. Last season, we got lucky. But luck doesn't protect your home. Fortunately, Storm Smart has dependable custom hurricane protection products. Hurricane screens, accordion shutters, aluminum roll-down shutters, flood mitigation systems. Because protected beats lucky every time. Be safe, be smart, be Storm Smart.
Streaming from the Tampa Bay 28 Weather Center in Studio A, this is Dennis Phillips Live. Brought to you by Storm Smart. Protect every opening of your home.
How you doing, everybody? It's a Thursday night edition of Dennis Phillips Live. Welcome. So I've had a busy day. I started over at Hillsborough County, and you can kind of see right here, we had the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, and we did a little bit of a hurricane season outlook, talking about how folks prepare. And this is something that we often discuss. You know, emergency management folks and law enforcement, you know, they're obviously working on everything that they have to do, but at the same time, they're worried about their families. You know, they're concerned, how is it that they're able to do their jobs knowing full well that they're going to be worried about their families if they're not taken care of? And that's something I think a lot of folks forget. So we kind of discussed that a good bit tonight or today at the Sheriff's Office. And then, of course, gave the outlook. And this is prime time for hurricane season expos. And I was in Pasco County in Shady Hills at the expo last Saturday. And we've got one coming up in Dunedin. We've had one in Polk County. They're all over the place. And this weekend, we have one with Palm Harbor. And one of the people who will be there, my buddy Mike Boylan, who is on the right side of your screen, and Erica Linford is on the left side of your screen. Guys, welcome to Dennis Phillips Live.
Heck yeah, we're watching the Rays. Remember how you used to watch the Rays, Dennis, when you did your lives? I'm doing that now.
We used to do real time, and boy, the Rays are hot. I mean, they've won like what 6, 7 in a row.
It's and we're up 2-0 already in the first. It's crazy
against the Red Sox.
Yeah, this is a big 4-game series, man. So
it's huge.
So Mike, where are you?
Where am I?
Yeah, where are you?
You know, I'm at Whiskey Wings here in Oldmar. It's kind of our little local joint. We love to watch the Rays here, and they have it on all the TVs. Brian's a great manager. Props to him. Sarah gets to dance. They have a band every night of the week, it seems like. So she's out there dancing, and it's kind of our home away from home.
Nice.
Cheers.
Well, so Erica, we were talking earlier about Mike and I are going to be kind of hosting a kind of a Q&A session going up. So tell the folks who are watching a little bit about the Palm Harbor Expo, what they can expect, the times, and all the details.
Sure. Well, Dennis, first of all, thanks for asking me to be here. We are very excited. I think this is our 5th year of hosting a Hurricane Expo at the Palm Harbor Community Center. And for those of you who don't know, it's on 16th Street, right behind Palm Harbor University High School. And it'll run from 10 to 1. And around 11:30, give or take, my two buddies here, the weather gurus, I call them, Mike and Dennis, will have an opportunity to answer questions and relieve everyone's anxiety hopes here of a Q season. I won't say that word. We're not allowed to say that word between June and November 30th. But we've got a ton of people coming out, anywhere from roofers, window people, insurance folks, people from Pinellas County come out, Public Works, Consumer Protection, Red Cross will be there as well. They're going to be speaking right before you guys around 11:15. We'll have some snacks available. We provide a little bit of food and tons of giveaways, chainsaw, pole saw. We've got a water, like a sump pump for flooding help. And a lot of the people that are coming out that are attending, sponsors and whatnot, have brought door prizes. So there's chances to win all day that we'll do at the end of the afternoon. And like I said, it's going to be a great 3 hours with tons of information for sure.
Yeah, and Mike, we've done this before. I mean, you've been there for several years as well. By the way, Erica, Kelly Snow says hi. She's on the comments, blowing up the comments. So
of course she is. Hey, like, Kelly.
Let's go, Erica. And she said she'll be there as well, live, I think, at 11:30. So, so Mike, you know, we've been there for a couple of years, and you brought out the family last time that we were there. So, I mean, what are kind of some of the questions that you run into more often than not when you go to expos like this?
Well, I think the talking points this year is El Nino. So I think we'll get a lot of questions on that and what that means. That seems to be the number one question everybody's been giving me right now. You know, how many names we're going to have, you know, and you and I think so much alike when it comes to things about it only takes one. So I really like to stress the importance of, you know, let's not focus on the names. We've had storms in El Nino in the past, and, you know, in El Nino for Florida, it looks like it could be busy fall, winter, you know, so I know that's a big question. That's pretty much it. I think, you know, maybe risk, you know, having a kit, you know, evacuations, maybe a lot of new folks are a little bit more worried about things, you know, they should be preparing for now. So you know, hopefully we get some good questions from some of those folks. And the older residents, natives like me, I always tell them, you know, hey, let's not be stubborn. Let's not think last year was quiet and it's going to be another quiet year, you know, because we're all too familiar with 2024 and how bad it was.
Erica, it's funny because you mentioned the Q word, and whenever I say quiet, everybody's like, we don't say it. I was watching The Pit, and well, actually, it's funny because a lot of people say I work in the healthcare field, and we never use the Q word. We never say that word. And I was watching The Pit. I was binging The Pit last week, and sure enough, there were a couple of episodes where they reiterated that. They're like, we do not say the word quiet. One guy did, and then they had a ton of patients go in. So
well, you heard Mike.
It feels that way.
He just said it twice, so it's Mike's fault.
I don't know. I always put a K. Put a K in front of it. Quiet.
Yeah.
Quiet with a K.
So what are some of the vendors and what are some of the groups that people will be there? Because, I mean, I think that's when I went to the expo for the last couple of years, I mean, it really is a little bit of everything. So for folks who have no clue how to prepare, I kind of feel like you've kind of got something for everybody.
We do. This year, this is probably our largest participation from different vendors. I know we've got a couple different roofers coming out, a couple different tree guys coming out, window vendor. We've got a couple of people coming out that do, you know, helping with filling out paperwork if you're still struggling from 2024 with, I mean, believe it or not, we at Parks and Recreation had damage from Helene. We had, and just finally got some reimbursement from FEMA. So there are people still out there that didn't get back in their homes yet or still struggling with insurance claims. So there'll be some people there, some adjusters that can help with that. And like I said, a lot of Pinellas County will come out with their different departments. The sheriff's department will be there. The fire department will be there. And then we'll have, I believe there's a couple of private insurance companies coming out. I think Lowe's is showing up this year. They've not attended in the past. So that's a new addition to the family. And I think we're touching almost 40 different tables worth of people that'll be there. Red Cross is there. And I don't know if the people know that. I didn't know this until I actually attended over in, I believe it was in Oldsmar, and I learned that Red Cross will come out and put in brand new smoke detectors in your homes, and they're 10-year smoke detectors at no cost to you. You just have to sign up at their table. And it's a great service because as a local fire commissioner as well, that's near and dear to my heart. It saves a lot of lives to have working fire, smoke detectors in the house. But there is
I know that.
Yeah. So you just have to actually register. My daughter actually received that in Tarpon Springs a few years back when she registered. So it is true. It's not made up.
So Want to throw out one other thing, and this has nothing to do with the expo, but I was excited about it. So did you, and this may be secondhand, but I think it's right. Did you guys hear that at Devines on Saturday, they're going to have a J.J. Gandy's pop-up tent out there, and they're going to have cookies and pies?
I didn't hear that.
That's what I heard. Now, I wouldn't swear to it, but I went on their website, and I think I remember seeing it was this Saturday. They are going to be over at Devines, which is a local brewery just up the street, literally just up the street from the rec center. And they're going to have some of their pies and cookies. That's what I heard. So you don't quote me on it, but trust me, I will be checking that out. And
I will
should
too.
have a tent. What was
I'll
that,
be
Mike?
there. I like the brewery. So you get cookies, I'll get the beer. And I'll bring you Dr. Pepper. Everybody that knows that I'm coming said, make sure I bring you Diet Dr. Pepper. So I'm looking forward to it. You know, we've never done this, Dennis. You know, a lot of people think we hate each other. And we always have fun on the side in hurricane season, laughing behind the scenes at what some people think, you know, and for us to be on stage, I'm so excited. I'm going to have somebody record it because I actually think it's going to be worth resharing. And I'm really looking forward to the conversation with everybody and encourage people to ask us questions, and hopefully it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, people think what they want to think. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I have said that, you know, I would say it again. You know, Mike is someone who is the first to admit he never received formal meteorology education. He's self-taught and he's learned from having a passion. And I tell my kids, there is nothing better than American Dream that shows somebody who loves something so much that they do their research, they do their work, whether or not they go to school for it or not. And you know, weather's one of those things that, in my opinion, the message, how that message is presented, is every bit as important as the message itself. And, you know, I think that's why Mike and I have talked about this a lot. You know, some people, certain styles resonate with, and some other people have different styles. And you know, I've known Mike for, gosh, it's been over 20 years that we were part of that group back in the old days. So, yeah, anybody who thinks that doesn't know what they're talking about. I mean, at the end of the day, anybody who has their dream and their passion and follows it and finds a way to make a living doing it, hey, massive props. And by the way, I did see that you were talking about your Storm Chaser has gotten some upgrades this year as well.
Yeah, I'll have it. Oh, we got to do a picture. I'm going to have it at the Palm Harbor Expo, everybody. So please come out and take a look at it. I'll have it on display. You can take a pic, sit in the seat, hit some buttons. It's always a lot of fun. We'll have a good time. Erica's a great lady, and Palm Harbor's, you know, you live there. I grew up in Palm Harbor. A lot of folks don't know this, but I went to school off Nebraska. I rode my bike up, you know, every day to Palm Harbor Middle School. And yeah, so it was, you know, Palm Harbor is near and dear to me, just as much as Oldsmar is. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody.
Well, it'll be a blast. Erica, remind folks exactly the time and the place, and is there a website or any place where they can get more information?
Absolutely. It is, our website is phparksandrec.org. The event is going to be Saturday, May 9th from 10 to 1 at the community center. It's on 16th Street. The address is 1500 16th Street. It's right behind Palm Harbor University High School. You can't miss us. If you Google Palm Harbor Parks and Rec, you'll find it. And the Hurricane Expo is all over social media. Thanks to Kelly Snow. She's our social media guru, as you can tell by, you know, her shouting out to you, Dennis.
Up the comments, yeah, lots of comments.
Of course she is. Of course she is. But, you know, Dennis, we love you in Palm Harbor. We know we can always count on you during hurricane season. And Mike, you've sure grown to be loved in Palm Harbor as well, even though you're that Oldsmar guy. But we know your dad lives right down the street from us. So Palm Harbor is always part of your heart.
Well, look forward to seeing you guys on Saturday. What time are we talking again? Because we were just discussing this, 11:30?
Yeah, you guys are going to go 11:30 after Red Cross is done. She's going to go around 11:15.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, we'll see you guys on Saturday.
Sounds great. Thanks for having us, Dennis.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you on Saturday. Have a great night.
All right, take care.
Right,
bye.
So there you go. That was awesome. That was literally spur of the moment. I reached out to Erica earlier today, and then I literally texted Mike like 15. No, actually, Mike texted me. He's like, "What time are we going to be on Saturday?" I go, "I'm not sure. I want to sleep in because I've been getting up really, really early with a lot of the events that I've been doing." And so I said, hey, do you want to be on the show? He's like, well, I'm at Whiskey Wings. I'm like, that's fine with me. So, and that's Mike. So anyway, we will see you guys hopefully on Saturday. Look, there are a lot of hurricane expos this time of the year. Someone asked about Hernando County. I know there was one or is soon to be one in Hernando. I think actually Greg D might have been there. They're all over the place, and with good reason. Because, look, we have been saying now and Mike touched on it as well, and I talked about this yesterday, we know that there is an El Nino coming. That there is no debate. To what degree, and again, for folks who want to know, in fact, you know what, I'll go ahead and take the graphic yet again, because I've shown it many a time, but I kind of showed these graphics today at the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office as well. So all an El Nino is when you have an area of warmer water. I'm loading this map here. There we go. All right, so go ahead and take the graphic so you can kind of see it. All right, so when you have this area of warm water in the Pacific, all right, and in many ways, in many factors, it moves, and sometimes replaced with colder water, and then sometimes that warmer water ends up right off the coast of South America. Now, it actually got its name because El Nino means the Christ child, and this used to happen where the fishing catch, if you will, around Christmas time would often take a hit and not do as well. And the fishermen named it El Nino because it happened around Christmas time. And that coincided with all the warm water that was coming in off the coast of South America. So when it is there, a couple of distinct things happen. One of which is, as Mike referenced a couple of minutes ago, it has a huge impact on our weather. You can argue it has a bigger impact on our weather in the wintertime than it does during hurricane season. Because what happens is it energizes the subtropical jet stream. The subtropical jet is the jet that often creates strong low pressure in the wintertime and brings severe weather across the deep south and into Florida. So when that subtropical jet is very active, and that's what usually happens when El Nino, with the upper level winds, you have a much wetter and stormier pattern. So, like I've been saying, if that El Nino, and first of all, the forecasts of El Nino are not on all or nothing. It isn't like, okay, well, we just absolutely 100% know it's going to happen. Models are really all in on it this go around, but how long it lasts, how strong it gets, that is still very much up in the air, literally, no pun intended. I mean, it can be a little weaker, it could be a little stronger, but if the Euro is correct, it's forecasting a massive El Nino, 3 to 4 degrees above average, which when you see that, almost always, it leads to a very wet fall, late fall, winter for the Southeast. So if this El Nino is in place, what you see there, and it isn't just Florida, it's the entire Gulf Coast all the way from Texas and in the Four Corners areas, and you can see that. And it is not cold, by the way, it's warm. So usually that means it's a very stormy and wet winter. We had one a few years ago. It was awesome in the sense that we got a ton of rain, and that's what we need, obviously. In the summertime, what it does, it disturbs the upper level winds and limits, doesn't completely, it inhibits the development of hurricanes by preventing them from flourishing and building up because the tops of these developing systems get cut off. So usually during a hurricane season, the overall numbers of named storms will be lower. That's the important thing to remember. I'm not saying Florida will not get 4 hurricanes. I'm saying, because let's say NOAA will come out with their prediction at the end of this month. I would bet my bottom dollar they're going to be either 12 to 16 or 11 to 15. They're going to be somewhere in that area, right? So there will be fewer than average and fewer than we've seen historically over the last 5 years. But that doesn't mean zero. And you can absolutely positively still see and will see hurricanes develop. Now, will they develop and threaten the U.S.? Nobody knows, nor do we know any year. We could say there's going to be 50 named storms, but that doesn't mean that we're going to say have any idea whether they're going to hit the U.S. or not. Historically, if you look at the stats, a La Nina year when there's more storms typically that develop, usually the Outer Banks of the Carolinas have a higher risk. Usually the Southeast has a higher risk. The Gulf, there's really not a big difference one way or the other in terms of the statistics. Same thing with an El Nino, all right? So even though we're probably going to have an El Nino and it's probably going to be a busy winter, and less active in the summer, that does not mean we will not be threatened by a storm. So that's why these expos are so important to help you prepare, especially for folks who are new to the area. In the month of June, right off the bat, we've all been saying, wouldn't it be nice, not all of us, but many of us have been saying, wouldn't it be nice if we had a weak tropical storm that would bring a track like this and bring us a soaking rain? Because that can happen. That can absolutely bust a drought. It absolutely can. It happens often. And almost always these storms are weak because the energy in the water has not warmed such that it turns into a significant hurricane threat, but usually just a big rainmaker. Honestly, that's probably what the doctor ordered. Whether or not we see that, who knows? But the message I want to go to you as you look at July and then you look at August, and the thing I always bring up, look at where the most, and this is a perfect example of why it is not how many storms form, it's where they hit. Look at where the most common tracks are in the month of August. Look at the orange, look at the red. Now look in September. Look at the orange, look at the red. Where are the most common tracks? Offshore. The most common hurricane tracks don't even make landfall in the U.S. So that's why, regardless of whether or not you have a lot of named storms or you have a few named storms, it is not necessarily how many form, it's where they form. And when we go into October, that is the track that historically is a bigger threat for our area on the west coast of Florida. Because a storm can and often does develop in the northern Caribbean and then take a trip north, hits a trough or a front, kicks right, and goes into central Florida. Doesn't happen that often. Last major hurricane, you can make the argument, was 1921. Some folks say that Milton was a major hurricane making landfall in the Bay Area. You can make the argument. Siesta Key, I would argue, is probably not the Bay Area. I think it's a little bit farther south. It's more Sarasota than the Bay Area. Regardless, the point is, it is not how many develop. In my mind, that's meaningless. Long-range forecasting is a waste of time, in my opinion. I don't think it means anything. I don't think it does a public service. I think if their prediction is low, then people are going to prepare less and not be ready if one does come their way. So ultimately, the point is, when we get a storm, and then in November, you still have a northern Caribbean, more in the Bahamas, because why would it be farther south? Because fronts move farther south in November. That's the kicker, right? So when you look at an October track into central Florida, that's because that's more than likely where fronts can make it. November, fronts make it all the way down into the Keys. So they're more likely to have a track down here, through the Straits and into the Bahamas. The Safford-Simpson scale, some folks have been saying, why don't we have a 6? I mean, you could make the argument if you look at that scale, Melissa would have been a 6 if such a thing existed. I mean, I get it. I see both sides. I don't disagree that, numerically speaking, maybe a 6 makes sense. But if you're being threatened by a 5 or a 6, do you really care? Is there much of a difference? If you're hearing 165 mile an hour winds, whether people say whether there's a 5 on that or a 6 on it, the end result is the same. You're going to take it seriously. So I don't know. I don't think it kind of makes sense. And David's asking about the Saharan dust, and that is absolutely we have a psychic. Okay, all right. We have a ban coming. I did not know. I have not been looking at the comments. You know me, I get in my soapbox. Let me look at the psychic reading person. Here they are. Let me see. Oh, there it is. No, wait a minute. I'm seeing your guys' comments, but I'm not seeing theirs. Oh, there it is. There it is. Free psychic reading, no charge. Gone. Goodbye. Haven't used the ban button too much lately. Haven't really had to. Most people kind of get what we're doing here. But, yeah, they are gone. Is there anybody else? Yeah, Michael mentioned that Andrew hit during an El Nino. It did, but it was a weakening El Nino. It was almost more neutral by the time we got to August and Andrew. But yes, it was an El Nino year. Carissa, how you doing? My favorite PSU grad. How are you doing, Carissa? Good to see you. Yeah, and Lynn, see, major, okay, it's somewhat semantics. A major hurricane, by definition, is a Category 3 hurricane or higher, by definition. So when you hear us talk about a major hurricane, that means Cat 3. I get it. You know, if people have 95-mile-an-hour winds and trees go down and there's problems, that's major to them. Absolutely, you are correct. But per the Hurricane Center, a major hurricane means Cat 3 or higher. All right, so what else we got? And again, this is the timeline. Obviously, the peak of the season is from August to October. Not a lot usually in June, typically very weak. Not a lot in July. Once we hit the second half of August, things ramp up usually. September, we peak out. A third of all named storms are in September. And then in October, that's usually when the transformation goes from the Atlantic to the Gulf. And once the storms go in the Gulf, that's obviously when we have a bigger threat for our area. So that's about it. I mean, here, I have this graphic, which says today. I got to change that. You know what if I can change that right now? Stand by. Let's see if I can change this graphic and get rid of that today little thing, if I can find it. Let's see. Yep. Where is that? And then go hide. There we go. It's gone. Save. And it's gone. It's magic. All right. So anyway, so that was just kind of what I wanted to talk about. A lot of hurricane expos. Unfortunately, not a lot of rain. If we're looking at the forecast here, let's go ahead and take a look at the Euro real quick. How you doing, Ryan? Good to see you. I'm going to call up the 7-day as well real quick because the streamers are about to go. Let's see. Where is it? All right, right there. Okay, so the Euro, this is next week. That's no good. That's not what I want. All right, here we go. So no, that's next week. No, that's right. All right, so there's Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, all that rain up north. And then finally by Monday, whatever's left starts to come through and we have our chance of rain. Not a great chance, but it is something. And again, 7-day rain chance only about 10%, a little bit better. Citrus County tomorrow, but otherwise, we're not expecting much rain until that chance on Monday. So streamers, thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow night with our next edition of Dennis Phillips Live. Hope to see you tonight at 11 on Tampa Bay 28 News. All right, streamers are gone. So let's go back to the 7-day real quick. Highs in the low 90s, mid 90s inland. Rain chances only about 10%. Sharon in Maine, how you doing? Good to see you. Monday is the best opportunity for some rain, as we were showing you kind of with the Euro. And we will go back. Oh, you know what I did not show? I did not show the video of the Hurricane Expo. There it is. So I'm doing some, I don't know what I was doing here. Not even sure what I was saying. But this was the Palm Harbor Hurricane Expo a couple years ago. Oh, look, there's Erica. Oh, I thought there was audio with her, but I guess there's not. I just plugged in. So yeah, this is a look at what was going on out there. And as you see, it is a family event. And yeah, I mean, Mike was over there on the right, in the back, I think, like right back there on the right side. But yeah, it's in the main area right there, and you've got all the different groups, and it's just good information. And lots of free stuff. Lots of free stuff. You know, the guys, I'm going to be totally honest with you. You know, we're getting mixed signals, mixed messages about this summer. You know it's the rainy season. You know that we are going to see rain. But the key to our summer forecast is the wind direction. The prevailing wind direction is always the most important feature. If we get more of a southeast wind, then we're going to be just fine with rainfall after a couple of months. But when we set up with more of a westerly wind, that bypasses the coast, and most of the rain is east of I-75. Sometimes high pressure sets up, locks in, and gives us a beautiful southeast wind for weeks on end. Other times, you get an east coast trough that comes in and gives us more of a southwesterly flow, so the coast misses the rain. And that is just really, really the key to everything. And honestly, that's the key to all those forecasts. So to answer your question is, I don't really have an answer because we don't know 4 weeks in advance. The models show, they do show, but they're just not very accurate on what the overall long-range pattern is going to be. So it's kind of a wait and see. And it changes week to week. I mean, you know, sometimes we have a westerly wind and we get inland areas. Sometimes we get a southeast wind. The hope is we get high pressure, Bermuda high, lock it in such that the position is we will have a southeast wind and get a lot of rain. But, wait a minute, Erica just texted me about the J.J. Gandy's thing. Let's see if I was making it up or not. I was not making it up. Ha! It is at Devine Brewery from 7:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday. And they are going to have, I don't know, they're having something. I'm positive they're going to have a little, they said they were going to have like a little pop-up tent. So there you go. So, I read it somewhere. I know I did. It was on their site, I think, truthfully. All right, so that's J.J. Gandy's Pies. All right, guys, I'm going to go get some dinner. Maybe a few showers Citrus County tomorrow, maybe a quick thunderstorm. The weekend looks dry and hot. We got a lot more expos coming up. Next week, gosh, I can't remember. There's a lot. There's a lot of things we're doing. And then, of course, the Crooked Thumb on Sunday the 24th, I believe. Yep. Sunday the 24th is our meet and greet when the Crooked Thumb in Safety Harbor is going to be debuting this year's Rule Number 7 Pale Ale. With our fundraiser, our meet and greet, it is a blast. It's fun. There's kids there. There's all sorts of stuff. We usually have our merch as well, where we donate proceeds to charity. It's a lot of fun. That's going to come up, I think, 3 o'clock on Sunday, the day before Labor Day. And that's all I got. So you guys have a good night. Thanks for watching, and we will see you tomorrow. And hopefully I'll see you on Saturday in Palm Harbor at the Hurricane Expo. Have a good night, and we'll see you in tomorrow night's edition of Dennis Phillips Live.